Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Toolkit at fantasyfootballtoolkit.blogspot.com. I am The Lost Cause, coming to you once again with our look around the NFL. We will begin with the AFC East. Let's start with the Patriots. The Patriots come off of a 14-2 season on the backs of Tom Brady, Ben Javaris, Green Ellis, and Wes Welker. With Tom Brady, 324 completions for 3,900 yards on the dot and an impressive touchdown-interception ratio of 36-4. His job is completely secure, and if you can get him in the top 20, great, because he is a top 5 quarterback. In fact, his numbers have been so good in and out with the personnel that he's had on the team. He's got to be a top 3 quarterback once again. Green Ellis, an up-and-comer, a riser, finishes 16 games this past season for 229 carries and 1,008 yards, and the big number, 13 touchdowns on the ground. Wes Welker, only 86 catches for 848 yards and 7 touchdowns. Aiding these players, specifically at the tight end position, were Algie Crumpler and Rob Gronkowski. If you are drafting, stay away from Crumpler. He's more of the add-on, the secondary tight end, the fill-in. You probably only get 2 to 3 touchdowns with him over the course of a whole year. However, the money is on Gronkowski. 42 touches for 546 yards and a whopping 10 touchdowns. In the draft, what can you say? The Patriots, they know how to draft. They know how to pick up free agency personnel. Nate Sauter was picked up in the first round, 6'8", 320-pound offensive lineman who'll be playing left tackle coming out of Colorado. And also, something that spells a little bit of problem if you are thinking about picking up Green Ellis is more of the running back by committee in Shane Vernon, a 5'10", 200-pound running back from California. And also coming out of LSU at running back, Stephen Ridley, a 5'11", 225-pound running back. Now, the Patriots last year had some really good quality personnel at running back, albeit it was a running back by committee kind of a thing. They are keeping it up, and frankly, those 2 draft picks, while they are insurance policies and they also strengthen the running game, it hurts Green Ellis in a major, major way. So if you are thinking about picking up Green Ellis, I would kind of watch. Draft him in the later rounds, let other people pick him up. If he's there in rounds 11 and 12, and if you got a spot, I definitely pick him up. I think that he's still comfortable in the system. He's going to get touches, he's going to get touchdowns, but I don't think it's going to be as much as the season rolls out. Now let's take a look at Miami Dolphins, who finished 7-9 this past year. They don't have an awful lot of talent we're speaking of. It's kind of like the Bills, but where they do have talent, we can get into kind of a conversation about some rumors and some other scuttlebutt. Brandon Marshall finished the season 86 receptions for 1,014 yards and 3 touchdowns. Until another quarterback gets in there, a solid quarterback, one that doesn't have the last name of Thigpen or Henny, chances are this is the production levels that you're going to see from Brandon Marshall, making him a 6th or 7th round draft pick, and at the most, a 3rd wide receiver option. Speaking of Chad Henne, he's stuck at a quarterback problem right now with Thigpen, and it looks like Donovan McNabb might be a name that could be a potential new quarterback in Miami. Chad Henne's job, albeit he will be on the team, it's not going to be in the starting role if any of these free agencies have their way and the front office has their way either. In the draft, Miami in the 2nd round picked up Daniel Thomas, a 6', 230-pound running back from Kansas State. This is a replacement for the 2-headed giant that left at the same time in Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams. He's a solid running back. He's a big running back. He's definitely something that the offense needs at this time. At wide receiver in the 4th round, Miami picks up Edmund Gates, a 6', 192-pound wide receiver out of Abilene Christian. He's a speedster. He's definitely a speedster, and that's something that Miami could make use of, playing opposite Brandon Marshall. He was a former basketball player, and he can definitely help to spread the defense and stretch out some plays and really get that secondary working a little bit over time, if you know what I mean. As far as drafting any of these players, one of the things that I would do is I would look at something that's already on the depth chart. You might look to get a little bit of play out of Patrick Cobbs, but if you are in a keeper league, and if you're in a redraft league, and in the redraft league you're entering the 13th to 15th round and you have a spot, I would take my chance on Daniel Thomas. If the offense, as far as wide receiver and quarterback, don't start meshing, the tight end position doesn't become more utilized, you're probably going to see more points on the ground than anything, and Daniel Thomas is a very, very good pickup at that point. Now let's take a look at the New York Jets. Finished 11-5, had a pretty decent set of playoff games on the back of Mark Sanchez. Finished the season 278 out of 507 for 3,291 yards and a lackluster 17 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. He also had 3 rushing touchdowns. One person to look out for, and this is if Sean Green doesn't kick up his game. Sean Green finished with 185 rushes for 766 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's taking away time from LaDainian Tomlinson, and that's probably where more of the money is at this point. LaDainian Tomlinson finished the year, which it was down from his previous years in San Diego, at 219 rushes for 914 yards and 6 touchdowns. But the key number here is if you play in a points per reception, points per catch league, LaDainian was targeted 79 times by Sanchez, and he had 52 receptions out of those 79 for 368 yards. So if you're playing a running back game where you need to choose one of the running backs and you have a feeling that the Jets running game or a rusher is going to be solid, I'd probably stick with LaDainian Tomlinson over a younger Sean Green. At tight end, here's some more money. Dustin Keller, a solid tight end, 55 receptions for 687 yards and 5 touchdowns. If he's available, he is a top 10 tight end. Some people even have him in their top 5 for sure, as high as top 3. I'm putting him 3rd or 4th overall in the NFL right now in fantasy football at this point. At wide receiver, you're looking at Braylon Edwards, 53 receptions for 904 yards and 7 touchdowns. Problem with Braylon Edwards is they keep bringing in talent that looks to almost replace them. Draft pick in the 5th round, Jeremy Curley, comes out of TCU, 5'10", 189. A lot of people say that he's just there just to provide some kickoff and punt support, but at the same time, he's a quality pass catcher. He has a lot of skills after the catch, so look for him to take away some receptions, or even, hopefully, through the course of training camp, we maybe see Braylon Edwards actually outperform himself in his previous year and his previous years because of this. Also in the draft at running back, taken in the 4th round with the 29th pick in that round, is Bilal Powell out of Louisville, a 5'11", 207-pound running back, a punishing running back. They have John Connor at fullback. You have a receiving running back at LaDainian. Sean Green is kind of the mix between an inside-outside kind of rusher. Powell is a straight-up, I'm going to get you kind of a rusher. He's probably going to be the number 3 runner, and you're probably also going to see him get the more hard yardage that's not quite crossing the 50, not into the 40-30 field goalish range, and it's 3rd and long, 3rd and mid. You're probably going to see him pick up some yards. Now, on that note, probably be a good idea to pick him up in maybe the 3rd round of a dynasty league, a rookie draft league. And that kind of brings us to the Bills of Buffalo. Bills actually, fantasy-wise, had some talent, some pretty viable talent at different weeks throughout the season. Ryan Fitzpatrick was kind of an owner's dream if they just didn't have the right quality in their quarterbacks on the bench, and there were bye weeks coming up. He finished with 255 completions off of 441 attempts for 3,000 yards on the dot. It's 230 yards a game, and what was impressive was the touchdown-interception ratio of 23-15. Unfortunately, he was sacked 24 times. That really doesn't help kind of give you that security that you need in the backfield. However, Buffalo did bring in an offensive lineman they drafted in the 4th round with the 25th pick that they got from the Seahawks, Chris Hairston from Clemson. He's 6'6", 326. He's a developmental prospect, but the cool part about him is he has everything needed for blocking the edge. So this should be a good pickup for pass coverage, and should give the Bills a little bit more support so that Ryan Fitzpatrick can get his numbers up and his completions up and doesn't have to scramble as much. On the ground, Fred Jackson in 16 games had 222 rushes for 927 yards, 5 touchdowns. Big problem with him, 2 fumbles lost. Same thing as Ryan Fitzpatrick's 5 fumbles lost on the ground. Other players of note, CJ Spiller. Could he be getting more touches as the season goes on? Is this going to be a true two-headed giant, or is Fred Jackson still going to be the lead running back throughout the season? CJ Spiller, of course, missed a couple games this season, finished with 74 touches for 283 yards, no touchdowns. There's quality there at running back when it's healthy, when it's in the game, and when it's performing. The question is who is going to come out on top? Right now, I'm thinking Fred Jackson and CJ Spiller will be going head-to-head with this. Probably you're going to see Fred Jackson win out on it. A big surprise, and I actually picked him up this last season, and I was happy with him, is Stevie Johnson. Played all 16 games, 82 receptions for 1,073 yards. Really nice season, and the big number, 10 touchdowns on the season. If you're looking for deeper talent, I'm talking about if 2 of your wide receivers are on bye week, keep an eye out for all the time Lee Evans and Roscoe Parrish. These 2 receivers, when they're in, they can play. They combined for 70 receptions for 978 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's it for our look at the AFC East. The New England Patriots, Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets, and the Buffalo Bills. You can listen to us at our new home at fantasyfootballtoolkit.blogspot.com. You can also check out our videos on YouTube at our channel. All the links are available. You can also send any questions, comments, news clips, pictures, movies, whatever else you want to send. Go ahead and send it to us at the link provided. Take care all. Bye.